morning, ladies and gentlemen. How are you today? It's a pleasure to be here very early in the morning, but in spite of the fact that it's very early, it's a pleasure for me to be here. Despite the fact, in spite of the fact, despite the fact es obligatorio, a pesar del hecho de que sea temprano. In spite of the fact, despite the fact that it's so early, it's a true pleasure for me to be here. Even though, más fácil todavía, even though it's very early, even though it's very early, it's a pleasure for me to be here. All right, for class number 1156, a lot of classes. I want to finish where I left off yesterday. I want to finish where I left off, to leave off. I want to finish where I left off yesterday. And where did I leave off yesterday? Page 95, gain fluency. In the middle, paragraph 875. I started it, but I want to develop it even more. Would you like a drink? Would you like a drink? Would you like a drink? ¿Te gustaría una bebida? O sea, ¿quieres tomar algo? In Spanish, se dice, ¿quieres tomar algo? ¿No? All right. ¿Tomas algo? ¿Qué tomas? What would you like? Would you like a drink? Yeah. Then, I have whiskey, gin, ginebra, gin. I have whiskey, gin, beer, or wine. What do you have? What will you have? What will you have? Esto de what will you have? ¿Qué tendrás? Significa ¿qué tomarás? ¿Qué tomas? Pero en inglés hay que decirlo en el futuro. ¿Qué tomarás? What will you have? Se usa tanto. What will you have? What will you have? All right. When you go to a restaurant and you order, and the waiter or the waitress comes, may I take your order? Yes, I'll have. Sí, yo tomaré el número 3 sin cebolla. All right. I'll have. Así, 100% de las veces. También puedo decir I would like, pero no se dice. I'll have. I'll have. Number 3, no onions, please. No onions. All right. I'll have. Said, what will you have? I'll have. We'll have. Tomaremos el plato del día. We'll have the dish of the day or the plate of the day. All right. We'll have. All right. So, would you like a drink? Would you? Would you? La D de would con la Y de you se forma una J inglesa fonética. Would you? You. Would you like? What would you like? Would you like a drink? Would you like a drink? I have whiskey, gin, ginebra, beer, or wine. What do you have? Coke? Oh, Coke. Coca-Cola. Coke. Janet, su mujer se llama Janet, por lo visto. Janet, do we have any Coke in the fridge? In the refrigerator. Do we have any Coke? Do we have any Coke? Do we have any Coke in the refrigerator? Well, bring 2 Cokes. I'll grab the gin to add to mine. So in my case, my guest is going to have a Coke. All right, and I will accompany him with a second Coke. But in my particular case, I'm going to add some gin. Coca-Cola con ginebra. Cuba Libre. Yes, a Cuba Libre. All right. So, would you like a drink? I have whiskey, gin, beer, or wine. What do you have? Coke? Janet, do we have any Coke in the fridge? Well, bring 2 Cokes, and I'll grab the gin to add to mine. Añadir al mío, a la mía, mi Coca-Cola. I'll grab es, me agarraré al botella de ginebra, to add some gin to my Coke. I don't like gin and Coke. And the true Cuba Libre is not gin and Coke. It's rum and Coke, con ron. And I don't like it either. I don't like spirits. I can drink some whiskey or some gin, but I don't or vodka, but I don't really like it. The only alcohol that I drink is beer or wine. Usually wine, but I like beer. But I don't drink very much. All right. In any case, so, would you like a drink? I have whiskey, gin, beer, and wine. What'll you have? What'll you have? Coke? Janet, do we have any Coke in the fridge? Well, bring 2 Cokes, and I'll grab the gin to add to mine. Okay, we'll stop there for the moment and come back to this book, Gain Fluency, another day. And I will carefully place my trusty bookmarker in the right place, close the book, and the bookmarker allows me to know where I need to open the book the next time. ¿Te has dado cuenta? Es un buen invento. It's a good invention, bookmarkers. All right. So, let's continue with Vaughan World. The last episode, el desenlace final, the final outcome. Outcome is desenlace. What happens to Li Tong? All right, Li Tong, you remember. Chinese factory worker who decided to learn English. And thanks to his 8-year-old daughter, thanks to his 8-year-old daughter, 8-year-old. Year sin la S, porque es un adjetivo. ¿Qué tipo de hija? Hija de 8 años. 8-year-old daughter. Thanks to his 8-year-old daughter and the change of a teacher in the language school, Li's English is improving, but more importantly, thanks to the fact that he wears headphones and has a tape with English, and he's hearing English all day long, hearing English, not necessarily listening, because he's busy working at his work table. And so he's not paying attention necessarily to the voices that are entering his ears. But after 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, that's 40 hours a week, 160 hours a month, 1,600 hours. Miento. He works 11 months, 1,760 hours a year. English is entering, imagina, 1,700 horas de bombardeo lingüístico, aunque sea Swahili, acaba sintonizando, you know. So it's that's what Li did. Li Tong was notified yesterday that as of March 1st, he would be promoted to the position of assembly foreman for standard telephones. Congratulations, Li. As of March 1st. As of March 1st. Con efectividad 1 de marzo. Así se dice. As of the 1st of March. As of 1st March. As of March the 1st. As of. Dos pequeñas palabritas. As of es con efectividad. O a partir de, oficialmente. As of March 1st, yes, notificado. Fue notificado ayer. Li Tong was notified yesterday that as of March 1st, he would be, sería promocionado, ascendido. He would be promoted to the position of assembly foreman for standard telephones. Wow. Capataz. El capataz. No está mal. Assembly foreman. Capataz para de montaje. No mecanizado no, montaje. You see, in a factory, in a standard factory for cars or for telephones. You have machining and assembly. Machining, mecanizado y montaje. In the machining, they prepare the parts and they pass them to the assembly line. Cadena. La línea de ensamblaje, decimos en inglés. The assembly line. All right. And so as of March 1st, he would be promoted to promote. To promote is promocionar y promover. Hay que promover un ambiente mejor en este caso. We have to promote a better environment, a better atmosphere, a better climate in this company. To promote, promover, fomentar. But promote also is promocionar. Sales promotion. We need to promote these books. Yeah, buy the books. Excellent books to promote. Y promocionar en el escalafón. So, Li Tong was notified yesterday that as of March 1st, he would be promoted to the position of assembly foreman for standard telephones. Foreman is capataz. Foreman. Fore. F-O-R-E. Foreman, escrito foreman. Si son mujeres, no sé. Forewoman, no se dice. Yeah, supervisor. La palabra supervisor is basically the same. Supervisor. All right. He would be in charge of making sure that the production schedules for standard telephones were met and that the quality was in compliance with specifications. Okay. That's an important job. Estaría a cargo de asegurar. He would be in charge of. A cargo de. Encargado de. In charge of. Tres palabras. In charge of. Ahora, escuchen la pronunciación. In charge of. Cha-cha-cha. ¿Sabes bailar el in charge of? Yo bailo el cha-cha-cha, pero no el in charge of. 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 Trucos de fonética, hay que repetirlo 17 veces, ¿eh? In charge of. Y luego ya lo tienes. All right, in charge of, in charge of, in charge of, in charge of. Estaría a cargo de o encargado de. He would be in charge of making sure. Making gerundio, después de preposición of. In charge of making sure, asegurándose. Asegurarse de qué is to make sure that. And making sure that the production schedules for standard telephones were met. To meet es conocer por primera vez. Cuando conocí a mi mujer, I met my wife many years ago, meet. But to meet also es cumplir, con un programa, una programación. To meet, con unos objetivos, con unos estándares. To meet your objectives, cumplir con tus objetivos. To meet. So, he would be in charge of making sure that the production schedule, the schedule. Los británicos suelen decir schedule. Los americanos schedule. SCH casi siempre es como SK. School, escuela. SCH, school. Schedule. Schedule es el programa de producción, la programación de la producción. All right. Para los teléfonos estándar, no los móviles, okay? For standard telephones, Hello? All right, standard telephones. All right. Where are we? He would be in charge of making sure that the production schedule for standard telephones were met, cumplidos. Que los programas, la programación fuera cumplida correctamente. So, it's an important responsibility. He would be in charge of making sure that the production schedules for standard telephones were met and that the quality was in compliance with specifications. En cumplimiento con las especificaciones. En consonancia con. In compliance. Bueno, hoy en día se dice el compliance. ¿Sabes? ¿No? Compliance. Esta palabra. Compliance. To comply with means reúnes las condiciones para correctas, las correctas. You comply. To comply. So, He would be in charge of making sure that the production schedule for standard telephones were met and that the quality was in compliance with specifications. Specifications. All right. He would report to the assembly shop supervisor. Okay. Reportaría al supervisor del taller de montaje. He would report, todo es condicional. He would report to the assembly shop supervisor. Starting in April, his base salary would go up 17%. Congratulations, Lee. More money. Starting in April, fijaos en la pronunciación de April, A, la primera sílaba, digo la primera letra del alfabeto, April. Pencil. Los lápices de abril, the April pencils. April. Starting in April, his base salary, salario base, his base salary would go up 17%. And he would be included in the bonus system for middle managers. Okay. Es un mando intermedio ahora. A middle manager. Y tienen bonus, sistema de bonus, de incentivos. And he would be included in the bonus system for middle managers. When Lee received the news, he wasn't too surprised. When he received the news, he wasn't too surprised. No estaba demasiado sorprendido. Cuando recibió la noticia. He knew. Muy bien, ¿qué es lo que sabía? He knew. He had made a strong impression on his new boss and on the production manager. Yeah, 3 weeks ago, the assembly shop supervisor and the production manager were showing an Australian customer around the factory. When they reached Lee's work table, they asked him a question about the workflow. Lee turned to the Australian man and explained in fairly good English how the telephone assembly was performed in his area. The two Chinese managers were amazed. Wow. They had no idea. They had no idea that Lee could speak English. In fact, he spoke it quite a bit better than the production manager himself. Lee, however, wasn't amazed. He had probably spent 3 hours a day for over a year studying English on his own, in class and with his daughter. In addition, he had listened to audio tapes at work, almost 8 hours every day. His co-workers had already gotten used to seeing him wearing earphones at his work table. Lee calculated that between study and listening, he had managed to get close to 3,000 hours of exposure to the language. Usually, he didn't listen to the tapes, but rather left them on while he was thinking about other things, reading the newspaper or concentrating on his work. Nevertheless, the hours and hours of exposure opened his ear to the language and helped him consolidate a strong, basic knowledge of grammar and vocabulary. His teacher's advice and his daughter's help had produced a miracle. Lee was now on his way up in the organization. All right. So what happened here was 3 weeks ago, of course, Lee, I repeat, had been listening to tapes, 1,800 hours, 1,825 hours, just hearing English while he was working. But then at home, he spent another 3 hours. He calculated that over a period of 1 year, he devoted 3,000 hours. 3,000 hours to English, directly or indirectly. Now, 3 weeks ago, he was working at his work table, and the production manager and the shop supervisor were giving an Australian man a tour of the factory. They were giving him a tour of the factory. And when they reached Lee's table, the shop supervisor asked Lee a question about the process at his table. And instead of speaking in Chinese to the shop supervisor, Lee turned and spoke directly to the Australian man, explaining in fairly good English, dice fairly, bastante buen inglés, fairly good English, how the process worked. The shop supervisor and the production manager were amazed, asombrados. In fact, he spoke English better than the production manager's English. All right. And so, Lee wasn't surprised. He knew that if he was able to demonstrate his level of English, he would probably receive a promotion. And that was the case. But it was thanks to the help, thanks to the decision. Thanks 1 year before, when he saw a group of 2 Australian men speaking English with one of the employees from the process engineering department. He said, I'm going to learn English. But at first he was discouraged. But thanks to his daughter, and thanks to a teacher change in the language school, he became more encouraged, and he started following the recommendations of the teacher. He continued attending the language school, and at the same time his daughter continued helping her father with his English. Because basically they were together doing he was observing how his daughter was learning English at school. And so he was following the school curriculum and the language school curriculum. And at the same time listening to English every day at work for 8 hours. So what happened is, after 3 weeks after surprising the shop supervisor and the production manager, he received notification that as of March 1st, he would be promoted to, ¿cuál era? To assembly foreman. All right. For Standard Telephones. He would be in charge of making sure that the production schedules were met and that the quality parameters were adequate. He would make sure that the quality was in line with specification. In line with specification. So congratulations, Lee. So Lee is moving up in the organization. He's moving up in the organization. So we have finished the story of Lee Tong. And now, have we finished all? No nos queda. Sí, nos queda uno. Nos queda uno, dos. We've done Pierre Monet. We've done Luigi Barghini. We've done Nigel Perkins. We've done Denise Johnson. We've done Michael Johnson. We've done Nancy Johnson and Philip Johnson. And we've also done Paula Eisenbach. We've done Lee Tong. We've done Natasha Zarakovich. And we've done Ines Garcia. We've done all of them but one. The last one, and very interesting story, is Aquí Morita. Ahí Fresita. All right, okay. Aquí Morita. And so we're going to start Aquí Morita tomorrow, no, but maybe the day after tomorrow or the following day. And when we finish Aquí Morita, we have finished this book completely. We've done the book twice. All right, twice over the past 4 years, a long time. And so now you know the vida y milagros de mis personajes, the life of my characters. All right, how much time do we have left? 1 minute. Oh. I was planning to teach the verb to leave. Leave como salir de una habitación, to leave the room. También dejar, omitir is to leave out. Ay, omití el número 3. I left out number 3. Yes, to leave out. And to leave off. To leave off. Que es donde dejas algo del día anterior o antes de la comida. ¿Dónde lo dejamos? Where did we leave off? Sí, lo dejamos en el número 4. Ah, vale. To leave off. Remember every day. Yesterday we left off on page number. So to leave out and leave off, but I don't have time today to pursue that subject. Maybe tomorrow. Who knows? Take care.